My name is Emanuel Pastreich, and I serve as the director of the Asia Institute here in Seoul, Korea. The Asia Institute has put its focus on the intersection of the environment, technology, and international relations in East Asia. We started out in Daejeon, working closely with the Daejeon Research Cluster, one of the centers for technology in Asia. And we wanted to find the sort of essential foothold, in a way, for an issue which was not properly covered in the think tank community. And the environment and its relationship to technology really began our efforts. I worked together with KAIST and a group of about 10 different research institutes in Daejeon Research Cluster to found, as co-founder actually with Professor Yang Ji-won of KAIST University, the Daejeon Environment Forum. This forum brought together monthly or bi-monthly a group of researchers in every aspect of technology, from biotechnology, material sciences, electrical engineering, to talk about how we could use the technologies in the research institutes to make the city of Daejeon itself an eco-city. And we came to work very closely with the city of Daejeon, and we made actual policy recommendations and started a dialogue on the issue of the environment back in 2008, before it really had taken off as an issue here in Korea. Along the way, we introduced an international aspect to the Daejeon Environment Forum and also to the Asia Institute, in that I visited Washington, D.C. With Vice President Yang Ji-won of KAIST. We gave a very, very well-received talk at CSIS, America's leading research think tank, and we spoke about the potential for this alliance between research institutes, local government, and international organizations. As a result of that effort, we also started a very intense dialogue with Japan, particularly Tsukuba, the research cluster in Tsukuba, the city of Tsukuba, and Tsukuba University. And that led, in fact, to our participation in 3E, a program we continue to run, 3E referring to environment, energy, and economy. The 3E Forum had originally been started in Tsukuba, at Tsukuba University, and we started a dialogue between these two research clusters, essentially expanding it to include Palo Alto and Stanford University, and we hosted a series of 3E seminars in China, Japan, and Korea going forward. We continue to work with Japan, and we have also started a close relationship with Daejeon, which is Japan's leading government research institute. I recently had a chance to go and speak about our work on environmental technology and concepts of open science at the Asia Research Network, which Daejeon has established for such collaboration. Beyond that, we've worked closely with EcoCity Builders, whose founder, Richard Register, is a close friend of ours, and who came for our seminars to talk about the concept of the eco-city and how the humanities, the arts, could be brought into the process of creating truly ecologically sustainable cities. Along the way, we did a series of research projects with institutions like the Korea Research Institute for Bioscience and Biotechnology, and also Korea Institute for Geoscience and Materials, in which we worked on carbon capture technologies, and also beyond that, working with Korean Research Institute for Standards in Science on the issue of how technologies, the convergence of technologies, could help us to deal with environmental issues. I was very, very happy to have that opportunity, and as a result, the Asia Institute has developed a very broad network of individuals interested in issues of city planning, of international relations and technology, and its role both in the creation of environmental problems and also the solutions there too. Eventually, we put forth a very concrete proposal for an alliance of eco-cities. Working together with the city of Palo Alto, we translated a whole series of best practices into Mongolian, Russian, Chinese, and other languages, Arabic, for distribution around the world. Finally, in that sort of process of discussing the eco-cities, I wrote a proposal with John Pfeffer, who's the director of Foreign Policy and Focus, proposing that the city of Wentren, in Sichuan, China, after it was destroyed by the earthquake, could be rebuilt as an eco-city that could serve as a model for China. In fact, that idea of being a model, a paradigm that could be benchmarked, has been at the heart of our work on the environment, to try and create habits, concepts, and urban spaces in Korea that could be benchmarked by other nations in Asia and around the world. And being here in Seoul, or originally in Daejeon, was critical to that mission because so much of the world looks to Korea now for a model. Beyond that, I've also written a series of articles which have resulted from our research work. One was a proposal for an eco-currency, arguing that the entire World Bank system should be remodeled so that currencies are directly tied, that's to say, monetary policy is directly tied to the state of the environment, that we could imagine in the future something like a gold standard in which the value of currency would fluctuate based upon the state of the global environment. And we have entered into various discussions, including with experts in supercomputers, on how we could model and come up with standards there to discuss how the environment could be rendered as a basis for currency. I worked on that particular topic. I had various discussions with people such as Dan Estey, professor at Yale University at the law school, who has worked quite a bit on finding standards for measuring the state of the environment, and we continue to work on this topic. Moreover, I would say that our efforts here at the Daejeon Institute are inherently multilingual and multicultural. We write and produce reports and write articles in English, Chinese, Japanese, and of course Korean, and we try and engage in multiple languages, including in fact Arabic and Russian and Mongolian as well, around the world. We really feel that in order to implement our proposals for environmental reforms in adapting to the current crisis, we really need to produce materials that can be used, can be appreciated, and implemented at the local level. More recently, I have worked with Professor Peter Duran of Queen's University in Belfast on the question of mindfulness and self-control, how the psychological and cultural aspects of human experience can modify this insatiable desire to consume, which lies at the heart of the environmental crisis for us. I've also worked in that respect with Benjamin Barber, who has been a central figure in addressing this issue of consumer culture, and we continue to write on the subject. Finally, I recently wrote an article with John Pfeffer, Director of Foreign Policy in Focus, in which we discussed the question of defense and security. We argued together that in Asia, in specific and in the world as a whole, that there was a need, a desperate need in light of climate change and the various challenges of the present to reapportion our defense budgets, our military budgets, directly to deal with the climate crisis. We proposed that military budgets themselves 50% or more should be devoted directly to addressing domestic and international technological and habitual policy issues related to the environment. Because as I know from my own work with Future Forest, an organization we've worked very closely with in China, in the planting of forests to stop the spread of deserts in Inner Mongolia and elsewhere, as I've seen, the challenge of climate change and the spread of deserts in Asia is going to be a tremendous challenge for us, and we will need every penny which is now spent on planes and guns to address this sort of a existential challenge. You might say that even the most advanced drones and bombs and missiles are totally useless in the face of deserts and the ravages of climate change. So I think that gives a general overview of the work of the Asia Institute with regards to the environment. We continue to move forward here in Asia and around the world. And of course, we're always open to new alliances and new opportunities here and around the world.